The harsh fluorescent lights of the medical wing flickered weakly, casting long shadows across the forgotten corner where Una lay. She wasn't human, but that didn't matter to Jay Park. Most people saw just another alien patient, a broken body, with no hope of recovery. But Jay saw something different. Kepler 472 was a harsh colony world, a place where dreams came to die and hope was just another luxury nobody could afford. The medical facility was more like a warehouse of lost causes, filled with patients that advanced civilizations had given up on. Una had been here for years, her body frozen in a state between life and something else entirely. Jay walked past rows of beds, his fingers lightly tracing the medical charts. He'd been a volunteer medical researcher for 3 years, taking assignments that nobody else wanted. Most people thought he was crazy, a stubborn human who couldn't accept the limits of medical science. But something about Una's case pulled at him. Her medical history was a nightmare of complex diagnoses. Multiple alien medical teams had attempted treatments, each more advanced than the last. Quantum healers from the Andromeda cluster, genetic reconstructionists from the silicon-based civilizations, even the legendary medical experts from the Orion Cooperative had thrown up their hands in defeat. But Jay saw something in her eyes, a spark, a tiny flicker of consciousness that refused to be extinguished. That evening, as other researchers packed up and left, Jay pulled up Una's complete medical records. He wasn't looking at them like a typical doctor. He was examining them like a puzzle waiting to be solved. Each failed treatment, each complicated diagnosis was just another piece of information, not a dead end, but a potential pathway. His colleague, Dr. Kim, watched him with a mix of concern and curiosity. "You're wasting your time," she said softly. 10 different advanced civilizations have already concluded her case is hopeless. Jay didn't even look up. Maybe they were looking in the wrong direction. The room was silent except for the soft beeping of medical equipment and the distant hum of the colony's life support systems. Una lay motionless, her alien physiology a complex maze of biological systems that had defeated every known medical approach. But Jay Park wasn't interested in what was known. He was interested in what could be discovered. As midnight approached and the medical wing grew quieter, Jay began sketching something on his digital notepad. It wasn't a traditional medical diagram. It looked more like an intricate network, with lines connecting in ways that defied conventional medical understanding. He was going to find a way, not because it was easy, but because nobody else believed it was possible. The first step of any great journey isn't about having all the answers. It's about refusing to accept that no answers exist. And Jay Park was about to prove that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology or its intelligence. It was its relentless, stubborn hope. Outside the medical facility, Kepler 472's twin moons cast a pale blue light, watching silently as a single human began the process of challenging everything everyone thought they knew about medical science. This wasn't just a medical mission. This was a mission of pure human determination, a mission that was about to change everything. Note: this expanded version maintains the core narrative while adding depth, emotional nuance, and a more engaging storytelling approach. The writing focuses on Jay's perspective, his determination, and the initial setup of the story, creating intrigue and setting the stage for the subsequent parts. Would you like me to continue with the same style and approach for the remaining parts? The goal is to keep the narrative human-centric, engaging, and written in a natural conversational tone that would appeal to a wide audience. The small research lab looked nothing like the sleek medical facilities of advanced alien civilizations. It was a cluttered space of mismatched equipment, old computer screens, and walls covered in complex diagrams that seemed to make sense only to Jay Park. Most researchers had given up on Una's case. But Jay wasn't most researchers. He understood something fundamental that others missed. Every challenge was just a puzzle waiting to be solved. His workspace told a story of obsession. Coffee mugs with dried-out rings lined shelves, scattered. Papers showed hundreds of crossed-out theories, each one a failed attempt that brought him one step closer to understanding. The walls were covered with medical scans, neural network diagrams, and handwritten notes that looked like a crazy person's conspiracy board. But there was method in this madness. Jay had a unique approach that drove his colleagues crazy. He didn't just look at medical textbooks or follow established research protocols. He combined everything: human medical knowledge, experimental quantum theories, and a dash of pure intuition. One evening, Dr. Kim walked in and shook her head. "You've been working on this for months. 10 different alien civilizations have already declared it impossible." Jay just smiled. Impossible is just a word invented by people who haven't tried hard enough. His computer screens showed complex simulations. Neural pathways flickered and danced, showing potential connections that no one had ever seen before. He was essentially trying to rewrite the rules of medical science. The colony's research budget was tight. Most of his equipment was recycled, modified, jury-rigged from whatever he could find. But Jay understood that true innovation wasn't about having the most expensive tools. It was about understanding the problem in ways nobody else could. He'd spend nights creating simulation after simulation. Each failure wasn't a setback, it was valuable information. Where others saw a dead end, Jay saw a new pathway. His approach was uniquely human. Most alien medical teams approached problems with cold, calculated precision. They had advanced technology but lacked something crucial: hope. Jay believed that hope wasn't just an emotion, it was a scientific tool. He'd discovered something interesting about Yuna's neural condition. The previous medical teams had treated her condition as a problem to be solved. Jay saw it as a complex system waiting to be understood. "It's not about fixing," he would mumble to himself. "It's about understanding." His research combined multiple disciplines: quantum mechanics, neurological mapping, genetic reconstruction, areas that traditional medical research kept separated. Jay merged together. The colony's medical board had labeled him a dreamer. Some called him crazy. But Jay understood something profound. Every major medical breakthrough in human history started with someone being called crazy. He remembered the stories of early medical pioneers, doctors who were mocked, ridiculed, but ultimately changed everything. Jonas Salk and his polio vaccine, Marie Curie and her groundbreaking radiation research, people who saw beyond the obvious. Yuna wasn't just a patient to him. She represented something more, a challenge to human potential, a test of what was possible when someone refused to accept limitations. As weeks turned into months, Jay's workspace became a testament to human determination. Each failed simulation, each crossed-out theory wasn't a defeat. It was progress. The twin moons of Kepler 472 would rise and set. Research grants would come and go. But Jay Park would continue, driven by something more powerful than technology or funding. He was driven by hope, by the belief that somewhere, hidden in the complex neural pathways of an alien patient, was a solution waiting to be discovered. And he was going to find it. No matter what. Jay's hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady, precise. He'd spent countless nights preparing for this moment, and now everything came down to a single procedure that could change everything, or destroy months of research. The neural reconstructor looked like something between a medical device and an art piece, cables wrapped around delicate quantum processors, holographic displays flickering with complex neural maps. This wasn't just a machine. It was the physical representation of hope. Yuna lay motionless on the medical bed, her alien physiology a complex puzzle that had defeated every previous attempt at treatment. Most would see a hopeless case. Jay saw a challenge waiting to be conquered. "We're ready," he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. The colony's medical board had fought against this moment. They'd argued. They'd threatened to cut his funding. They'd called his research impossible. But Jay understood something profound about human potential. True breakthroughs always look impossible before they happen. Dr. Kim stood nearby, her face a mixture of scientific skepticism and hidden hope. She'd worked alongside Jay for months, watching his relentless pursuit of something everyone else considered a lost cause. The first connection sparked. Tiny blue-green energy lines began mapping themselves across Yuna's neural network. It wasn't like any medical procedure ever attempted before. Jay was essentially rewriting biological code, creating neural pathways where none had existed before. Minutes felt like hours. The room was so quiet you could hear the soft hum of quantum processors working overtime. Every second was a battle, between human innovation and biological limitation. Jay remembered why he started this journey. It wasn't about proving something to the medical community. It was about proving what humans could do when they refused to accept defeat. His mind drifted to the stories of human pioneers, people who looked at impossible challenges and saw opportunities. The first doctors who performed organ transplants, scientists who developed vaccines, explorers who crossed impossible barriers. This moment was their legacy continuing. The neural reconstructor pulsed with a soft rhythm, creating connections that defied everything medical science thought was possible. It wasn't just a medical procedure. It was a declaration of human potential. Suddenly something changed, a tiny movement, almost imperceptible, but it was there. Yuna's fingers twitched. Dr. Kim gasped. Jay remained focused, his eyes locked on the complex neural displays. One wrong move could destroy everything they'd worked for. Another twitch, stronger this time. The medical monitors, which had been flat and lifeless for years, began showing complex activity. Neural pathways that had been dormant were suddenly lighting up like a complex, living network. "Come on," Jay whispered. "Come on." The room felt charged, electrical, like something fundamental was changing right before their eyes. This wasn't just a medical breakthrough. This was a moment that would challenge everything known about neural reconstruction, about healing, about what was possible when human determination met scientific innovation. Yuna's eyes, those eyes that had been vacant for so long, began to show the slightest hint of awareness. Something impossible was happening, and Jay Park was making it possible. The first real moment of consciousness was like watching a sunrise after a lifetime of darkness. Yuna's eyes flickered. Not the vacant, lifeless stare she'd had for years, but something alive, something aware. Jay held his breath. Years of research balanced on this single, fragile moment. Her fingers moved first, just a tiny twitch, then another. Simple movements that would seem ordinary to most people, but here, in this medical facility on a distant colony world, they were nothing short of miraculous. Dr. Kim stood frozen, her professional composure cracking. Tears weren't something medical professionals were supposed to show, but this was beyond medical protocol. This was hope made real. "Can you hear me?" Jay asked softly, leaning closer. For years, Yuna had been a medical mystery. A body trapped, neural pathways blocked, potential locked away. Now something was changing, something fundamental. The medical monitors went crazy. Neural activity that had been flat for years now danced with complex patterns. It wasn't just healing, it was reconstruction, rebirth. Yuna's first word wasn't complex. It wasn't a scientific statement or a medical breakthrough. It was simple, raw, human. "Hello?" she whispered. The room stopped. Even the machines seemed to pause. Jay remembered every sleepless night, every crossed-out theory, every moment people told him he was chasing an impossible dream, and now this single word validated everything. Her eyes moved, taking in the room, not just seeing but understanding. Neural connections that had been dormant were now firing with incredible speed and complexity. Where previous medical teams saw a lost cause, Jay had seen potential. "Water," Yuna said next. Another simple word. But to everyone in the room, it sounded like a symphony. Dr. Kim slowly brought a glass of water, her hands shaking. This wasn't just a medical procedure anymore. This was a testament to human determination. Jay watched carefully. Each movement, each word was a data point, a confirmation that something extraordinary was happening. His neural reconstructor hadn't just repaired damage, it had essentially rewritten biological limitations. "How do you feel?" he asked. Yuna looked at him, really looked. Her eyes held something that wasn't there before. Understanding, awareness, potential. "I feel alive," she said. The medical team surrounding her couldn't believe what they were seeing. Years of failure, months of research, countless rejected proposals. And now, this moment of pure, incredible possibility. News would spread quickly. Not just across the colony, but potentially across multiple alien civilizations. A human researcher had done what entire advanced medical teams couldn't. But for Jay, it wasn't about fame or recognition. It was about something more fundamental. It was about proving that human potential knows no boundaries. That hope isn't just an emotion, it's a scientific tool. That when someone refuses to accept limitations, incredible things can happen. Yuna slowly sat up. Each movement was a victory, each breath a celebration of human innovation. The room was silent, but it was a silence filled with possibility, with potential, with the kind of hope that changes everything. And at the center of it all was Jay Park, a researcher who looked at an impossible challenge and saw an opportunity, a human who refused to give up. The conference hall was packed. Representatives from dozens of alien civilizations sat in stunned silence, their advanced technology suddenly looking obsolete compared to what a single human had accomplished. Jay stood at the podium, Yuna beside him. She wasn't just a patient anymore. She was living proof of human potential. The Galactic Medical Consortium had summoned them from Kepler 472. What started as a potential dismissal had turned into something else entirely. Yuna's recovery wasn't just a medical breakthrough. It was a statement about human innovation. "We've reviewed Dr. Park's research," announced the Andromedan delegate, his tentacle-like appendages trembling slightly. "And we must acknowledge something unprecedented." Yuna stepped forward. Her movement was fluid, graceful, nothing like the motionless body she'd been just months ago. Where alien medical teams saw limitations, Jay saw possibilities. The presentation wasn't just about medical science. It was a narrative of human determination. Each slide showed how Jay had approached the impossible, not with advanced technology but with something more powerful, relentless hope. Alien scientists had complex machines, quantum healing tools, advanced genetic reconstructors. But they lacked something fundamental that humans possessed, the ability to see potential where others saw only failure. "My recovery isn't just about medical science," Yuna explained. "It's about understanding that every challenge is just a puzzle waiting to be solved." The room was electric. Representatives from silicon-based civilizations, quantum-encoded life forms, and biological entities all sat transfixed. A human had done what their combined medical knowledge couldn't achieve. Jay's research notes became an instant galactic sensation. Universities across different star systems began studying his approach. It wasn't just a medical breakthrough, it was a philosophical revolution. Humans look at impossible and see opportunity. Yuna continued. Where others stop, they continue. The Orion Cooperative's chief medical researcher approached Jay after the presentation. "We've spent centuries developing neural reconstruction technologies. How did you succeed where we failed?" Jay's response was simple. "We didn't just look at the problem, we reimagined it." News spread quickly. On distant colony worlds, research stations, and alien communication networks, one story dominated: the human who saved the impossible patient. Funding requests poured in. Research institutions wanted to understand Jay's methodology, but he wasn't interested in fame. He was interested in continuing his work. "This is just the beginning," he told Yuna during a quiet moment. "We've proven that human potential has no limits." The Galactic Medical Consortium did something unprecedented. They created a new research division dedicated to innovative biological reconstruction, essentially a department inspired entirely by Jay's work. Yuna became more than a patient. She became a symbol, a living testament to what happens when human determination meets scientific innovation. Representatives from multiple civilizations approached Jay, not with technological solutions, but with a newfound respect. They wanted to understand the human approach to problem solving. "Your method isn't just medical," one alien researcher noted. "It's philosophical. You see potential where others see failure." Jay's response captured the essence of human spirit. Every limitation is just an invitation to innovate. The conference hall might have been filled with advanced alien civilizations, but the real story was about something uniquely human: the ability to transform hope into reality. As they left the stage, Yuna looked at Jay, not as a doctor and patient, but as two individuals who had just changed everything. They had proven that the most powerful technology isn't found in machines. It's found in the human spirit,